Good morning, Mortgage Musketeers. Today is going to be a little bit different. Today, I'm a little bit grumpy. So we're going to talk about things that you need to stop doing. Intro. Alright, the first thing you need to stop doing is looking for houses before getting pre-qualified. You don't know what you can afford. You have no idea. You think you make a lot of money, or you think you don't have a lot of debt, or you don't even know what to think. Get pre-qualified. You save everybody time and money and emotions. Alright? Call up your lender and say, what can I afford? Because there's also what can you afford versus what do you want to pay. Because I know people that can afford a $400,000 house but don't want a payment over $150,000 house. So understand what that means. Call your loan officer and get pre-qualified first. Number 2, stop buying cars that are $40,000 to $60,000 when you get your first pay raise. I don't know how many times, there's at least 7 in the last month that have called me because they're in a better position in their life and they're like, yeah, I would love to buy a house now. And I'm like, great. And they make plenty of money, but they just bought a $60,000 car and now they have a $500 payment and now they can't afford to buy an $80,000 house. Stop. Live within your means. Okay? We all want to have a nice car. Okay, but you have to understand that you need to be responsible with your money up front. So although it may only seem like a 5-year loan, you're actually making a dang mortgage payment on your car payment. Stop. Live within your means. Get a nice car. And then once you have all your other stuff arranged, once you have purchased a house, once you get your life going, then you can afford a nice big fancy car, right? And I understand it's a status symbol. Think more about reliability and think about getting where you need to get. Because if you are starting a family, and I see this all the time with young couples, if you're starting a family, don't get a dang expensive car. Don't. I drove around in a Pontiac Sunbird with a red door, green car, red door, for years. Because I knew I couldn't afford a nice car until I could afford a nice car. Stop. Number 3, stop moving your money all around in your bank accounts. Okay? Put your money in the account, use it. It doesn't matter if it goes out. Spend money. Feel free to spend money. But don't move it from your savings to your checking, from your checking to your savings, from your savings to your Uncle Bob's, and then from your Uncle Bob's back into you. Stop moving your dang money around. If it's going into your savings account, move it in your savings account. It's easier if you have your stuff put into your checking account if that's what you're going to move. Now you can move from your checking to your savings, and that's fine to set it aside. But don't go from checking to savings, savings to checking, and back and forth all the time. Don't. Leave a cushion of money in there that you think that you're going to need to pay your bills so that you don't have to continuously transfer. And then, with a budget, move the money that you need to in your savings. Operate out of your checking. That way, when we do a 60-day look back, 2 months, we have to look back 2 months, we don't see 100 dang transactions going back and forth that we have to play, the mystery game to figure out where the heck all the money came from. Stop moving your money around. Number 4, when you make a deposit, if I have a check and I deposit it in the bank, I will deposit the entire check. And I have a copy of the check. That way I know $1,000 check and $1,000 deposit, they match. Whoa, that's not what people do. They take a $1,000 check and they take out $352 and then they deposit the rest. And now, when we see it on the bank statement, it's hard as heck to match. So then unless you keep your deposit slips, which most people don't, there's no way to source that money. Well, that was a $1,000 check that I got. Yeah, but it was a $700 something deposit. They don't jive. Put the whole thing in the bank. One transaction. The second separate transaction. Take out $352. 2 separate transactions. That way we can source the funds. Stop paying your rent with cash. Okay? Same thing. You can't source it. You need to be able to point to your bank account where your rent came from. Exactly. I had somebody I talked to yesterday and I wanted to hug them because they're paying $651 a month. Odd. But that's how it works sometimes. So I said, how do you pay your rent? And they said, I pay it out of my bank account. We make a call and we transfer exactly $651 a month. And I was like, bless you. Because it gives us so many more options as lenders. If your credit isn't where it needs to be, if there's other issues, if your debt to income ratio is too high, if we need to go to a manual underwrite, we can go back and show a 12-month payment history. But if you pay cash, we cannot do that and you're done. So stop paying your rent with cash. Stop maxing out your credit cards. Just stop. That's just financial management. I understand life happens, people need to do it, but there are also compulsive buyers out there. Stop. In order to manage your debt, you need to keep your available balance versus your used balance, how much money that you spent on there. You need to keep your credit utilization at around 30%. So if you have a let's say a $1,000 max on your card, you don't want to put more than $300 on that card. And that way you're managing credit. When you get towards 50%, then you start to become a credit risk. Once you get over 50%, everything over 50% is having a negative impact on your credit. So when you max out your credit cards, yeah, you're getting hosed. Separate that from what a financial advisor will tell you and say, hey, you want to consolidate all your credit cards. Sound financial advice because you're not paying interest on a whole bunch of different cards. But you've maxed out your credit card, most likely, and now you have high credit utilization, so it impacts your credit score. 2 separate things. Understand the difference between financial management and your credit score. Okay? Stop maxing out your credit cards regardless. All right? Live within your means. All right. Stop co-signing for other people's debt. Stop. Stop. Okay? You think, okay, they're responsible. I know them. They're a great person. They're just had a hard time. They can't afford to get whatever. I'll help them buy their car. Their debt is now your debt. Stop. Because it doesn't matter. Well, they make all the payments. Yeah, but it's still on your credit. It's still your debt. Stop co-signing for other people. You may love them to death, but you're screwing yourself. Don't do it. Stop keeping your money at home. Put it in the dang bank. Okay? We are not a communist country. They are not going to steal your money. They're not going to do it. I don't care what your grandpappy told you and everything else. Put your money in the bank. And if you want to take your money out of the bank, then take your money out of the bank. That's how it works. But don't keep it in your safe. Don't keep it under your mattress. And don't bury it in the backyard. Put your dang money in the bank. Because it's all cash. We can't source it. Money laundering and terrorism. It's not usable. And then you're going to scramble. How do I get my down payment? I saved up all this money, but I can't use it. It's American money. Yeah, well, too bad. That's the lending laws because of the Patriot Act. Put your money in the bank. Stop skipping your credit card payments or any of your debt payments thinking I'll catch up next month. Don't do that. You're screwing yourself. Oftentimes I see it where it's like a $25 minimum payment. You got all this other stuff. I'll just catch up next month because it's only $25. You just shot the heck out of your credit score. Okay? Don't ever be 30 days late on anything. Okay? If you had to take out a loan to pay that would not advisable, but better than skipping. As far as the impact it has on your dang credit. Stop. All right? So people always get in credit issue trouble, and then all of a sudden they want to try and contact all their friends at that point, and it's too late. That one ding that you had is on your credit. That one decision is on your credit for 7 years. 7. Eat macaroni and cheese and hot dogs and pay your dang credit card bill. All right, now listen to me, all of you divorcing folks out there. Stop screwing your ex because you're screwing yourself in the process. Don't use credit as a weapon. That's BS. Stop. Okay, stop. Stop screwing over your ex. Stop doing it, because it is an emotional decision and you don't understand that it has a 7-year impact on both of you. It's a gender neutral type of thing where I've seen it go both ways. All right, you may be angry, you may hate them with every fiber of your being, but love yourself enough not to screw over their credit, because it will screw your credit too. Okay, stop. Makes no sense. It's emotional, period. Figure out how to split the finances. Think your rational side, not your emotional side. Have a split, because otherwise you're going to be tied at the hip for 7 years, long after that divorce happened. And I hear it all the time. Yeah, that was my ex. Yeah, that was my ex. Control it. Don't allow it to happen. Make sure that's something that is addressed when you're separating. Split them up and handle your financial business. And don't screw over your ex, because it will impact both of you for 7 years. And you want to be done, right? So be done and be smart. All right. Stop thinking that minimum wage is a livable wage. It's not designed to be a livable wage. Forget politics. Don't care. You don't make enough. Okay, you don't. What you need to do is love yourself enough and have a little bit of intestinal fortitude to improve yourself. Get out of the minimum wage world. Okay? Minimum wage has an absolute purpose. Absolutely. It's great for our economy. It's great for America, but it is not designed to live off of. Okay? Pull yourself up by the bootstraps and do something about your life that gets you out of the minimum wage world. If I had a quarter for every single mother that has pulled herself up from the bootstraps, I hug a nurse every time I see him, because oh my gosh, I see it all the time. Because there's nothing more powerful than a driven mama. Love them to death. Okay? And men, you can do the same thing. Okay? Again, gender neutral. Love yourself enough to improve yourself. Think long term. What do I need to do to get where I need to be? And improve yourself. Stop thinking that a second job is going to solve all your financial problems for long term. It absolutely is a great idea to get yourself out of near-term financial issues. Okay? Get a second job, pay off the debt, get yourself in a better financial position. But you can't think that having 2 jobs, I don't make enough in my current job, so I'm going to get a second job so that combined I have enough money to do what I want to do. Most of the time, it can't be sustained for 2 years. You have to have 2 years of a second job in order to count both income. So it's not a near-term solution. It's not something that, hey, I've got this job, not making enough, I want to buy a house, so I'm going to go get this other job, and combined I have enough money. Yeah, in 2 years. Okay, if you can maintain it for 2 years and it hasn't destroyed your life because you have no life, then yeah, it's definitely possible. And do I know people that do it? I do. But you can't count on it. That's not a quick solution. All right? But if you are holding 2 jobs for 2 years, then absolutely we can use that. It's just very rare. All right, so a second job is good to get yourself financially straightened out. Not easy to qualify with. All right. And last but not least, stop sending me screenshots from your phone. Stop. Stop. I cannot use screenshots from your phone. Can't do it. Okay? The underwriter is going to be looking at that and they're going to look at a screenshot and go, what? But they'll never see it because I won't ever send it. I can't use a screenshot. You have to learn how to do a PDF. Print to PDF. Scan. Use, there's 100 apps out there where you can actually take a picture of a document, and that's fine, but that's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about people will go to their bank account on their phone and take a screenshot and say, look, I have money. Congratulations, I'm glad you do. Because that's what we need to show. But I have to show the bank statements. The complete bank statements. Not a screenshot. I have to have your name. It's got to have the account number. Don't blacken out the dang account number. Don't blacken out your social. That's your identifying information, and the entire purpose of obtaining the documents is to verify it's your money. So stop. Make my life easy. Print a PDF. Learn how to print a PDF. And if you're a bank, and there's quite a few of them out there that are incredibly user unfriendly, maybe you should switch banks. I know that's not cool to say, but it's reality because it's making your life difficult. And then I hear it. Oh, I can't believe it. Oh, I gotta go to the bank. And then the bank prints it out on a piece of paper, and it looks like, you know, a 1970s dot matrix printer. You know, and they're like, "Will this work?" No, because it doesn't have the bank name on it. It doesn't have your identifying information. You know, they'll have to stamp it, and that can work. You know, but it's 2019. Technology. If your bank doesn't have the technology, I'd be concerned. All right. So that was a lot of hey, don't do this and don't do that, but it's very useful information. All right. So hopefully from here you'll learn some of the things that you should be doing by what not to do. And here's what you need to understand. Buying a house is actually easy. It really is. People make it complicated. Buying a house is nothing more than meeting regulations. It's how much money do you make versus how much debt do you have and what is your credit score. And beyond that, it's just paperwork. It's just a paper trail. Okay? And the underwriting process is also not difficult either. It's not hard. You're just meeting the guidelines. And you have to show the documentation for the guidelines. So make everybody's life easy and stop doing the things I was talking about. The hardest one is the assets, and I've posted a whole bunch of videos about that. All right? Get your assets straight. And stop doing all the other things that I talked about. And buying a house is actually relatively easy and pain-free. People make it difficult. And then loan officers that don't have the intestinal fortitude to look somebody in the eyes and say, that ain't gonna work. You need to go get that reprinted. You need to go back to the bank. Because what'll happen is you'll submit it, and then it'll go to underwriting, and the underwriter will kick it back. And then you're like, oh, I can't believe the underwriter didn't accept it. Yeah, you should have been. The loan officer should have been able to say, no, that ain't gonna work. Right? And now you're just wasting time. And then time adds up, and then people get frustrated. Right? And then everything gets frustrating because it seems like, why is this so difficult? And it's difficult because you didn't get the right format, or you didn't get the right documents, or X, Y, and Z. So often we're trying to fit a square peg in a round hole when we should just get the round peg. Because it exists. Alright. Hopefully this was useful to you. If you liked what you saw, please hit the like, please ring the bell, please subscribe, and share this with all the friends that you know, because this is useful stuff. You know, somewhere down the road somebody's going to want to buy a house. Make sure they know what to do and what not to do. Alright, Mortgage Musketeers, until next time, it's all for one and one for all.